See, everybody's been asking me about business credit, how to get it, how to build it. And another thing people been asking is, how do you buy an actual car in your business name? Like, how do you get financing without messing up your personal credit? So today I'm giving you the full breakdown. I'm talking about the full blueprint that nobody on the internet is talking about. And this is not theory. This is what I personally know that actually works. And I'm talking about works today, right? So let me say this up front. Most people will never ever get real business credit. And it's not because they can't, and it's not because they don't qualify, but it's because they've been taught to do it the wrong way. And the problem is they don't really understand proper structure. And if you try to buy a car under your business, the way that these internet gurus tell you, you're either gonna do one or two things. You're gonna get denied, or it's accidentally gonna be put right back on your personal credit profile. And so I want you to stay with me, take this walk with me, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you the two real ways that, buying a car in your business name is actually done in 2026. So first things first, there's no such thing as business credit without proper business structure. See, if you skip these steps, the system is gonna punish you. And when I say punish you, understand it's because of lack of knowledge and information you don't have. So let's start from the beginning. You cannot build business credit using a doing business as. A DBA is really just a nickname. It is not a separate legal entity. So if you want real business credit, understand that you need to properly form an LLC or a corporation, and you have to file it through what is called the Secretary of State. Now, every state is different. Some states are cheaper, some states cost more, right? And that part doesn't really matter, right? But what matters is that once your LLC is active, your business becomes its own legal person, its own entity outside of yourself. And this is where you got to understand, this is the proper foundation. See, no LLC means that there's no separation between you as a real person and your real business credit and your personal credit. So after your LLC is approved, you immediately get something called an EIN from the IRS. And the EIN, it costs $0. It's free. See, your EIN is your business's social security number. And this is how you're separated, because you have a social, but now your business has its own social. And this is how banks recognize your business. This is how vendors verify that your company is legit. This is how lenders actually pull what is called real business data. And here's a key rule. See, your LLC must exist prior to getting your EIN number. If you do that backwards, what you've now created is mismatched records. And sometimes people get an EIN number and it's actually a sole proprietorship. So mismatches is what gets flagged. And flagged businesses, they never get funded. So the next thing you want to do is you want to get something called your DUNS number. Now, this is where people get really confused. See, your EIN is for taxes. Your DUNS number is for something called business credit reporting. And most business credit does not start with banks. It's going to start with vendors, right? And most vendors report to Dun and Bradstreet. Now, if you don't have a DUNS number, there is nothing to report to. So this is where it's very important to get your DUNS number, because you have to understand how important it is, right? To make sure your business is actually visible, and it doesn't exist in the real credit world unless you have that DUNS number. Now, here's the boring step that most people skip. Your business has to be searchable. It has to actually exist online. That means your business needs to be listed. And this is why you want to make sure it's listed in the 411. You want to go to listyourself.net and make sure that you list your business, right? It has to have a consistent business address. Also, you need to have a consistent business phone number, which is a 1-800 number. And when someone Googles your actual business, if a lender searches your business and nothing comes up, that's also a major red flag. And red flags never get approved. And this is where a lot of people get denied. And they never understand why, because their business is not properly structured, right? Now let's talk about actually building the business credit itself, because building business credit itself is a whole entire different process. It's just like personal credit. It takes something called activity. Another thing it takes is accounts. It also takes something called on-time payments. It takes reporting. It takes certain monitoring tools like using nav.com, because nav.com, you can actually monitor your business, and this is how you can understand whether you're building business credit. And you also need trade lines, because if you don't have trade lines, that means your business won't have a score. It won't have a business credit score. So here's what most people lose. There's different tiers, and you don't have to straight jump to bank cards like Chase and Wells Fargo. You don't have to start there. You can start with vendor account, net terms like net 30, net 60, net 90. And these are very low risk approvals, but they will report report, right? Then you move up. The second tier is things like gas cards, store cards. These are things that's going to also report. And then you move into real business credit cards, higher limits, right? Actual funding that you can go to any place that takes Visa, MasterCard, and they pretty much just take the card. So if you skip these tiers, this is where you pretty much get denied, because every denial is going to also slow you down. Now let's talk about the part that everyone really cares about, the car. See, the truth is, there are only two real ways to buy a car in your business. Anyone telling you otherwise, I promise you, they're lying to you, right? So the first way is with something called a personal guarantee. And this is the fastest way, right? Same thing with business credit cards. The fastest way is the personal guarantee. So with the personal guarantee, the car is titled to the business. The loan is tied to your business. But what they do is they do a personal credit check. They do an inquiry on your personal credit to verify how much of a risk that you actually are. But the account itself does not report to your personal credit. Your credit is used to qualify, not to carry the debt. So understand that's a major difference. It's just used to qualify, not to carry the debt. If your personal credit is decent, means you got a 720 plus credit score, I promise you that's the fastest route. It's the fastest route. But understand the trade-off, that if you default, that car can actually fall back on your personal credit profile. Now, the second way that you can do this is with something called business credit only, which is no personal credit pull. But this is the slow way, right? It takes more time. See, because you need established business credit. You need multiple trade lines. You need something that's called history. You need time. And this is not a beginner level, right? See, if someone tells you otherwise, I'm telling you, man, they're selling you all types of dreams. So here's something that most people don't know, that business credit applications are literally paper applications. You don't fill it out online. If they hand you an iPad, right, or phone, that's gonna be going on your personal credit. You need to ask for a business credit application, which means it has to be in paper, right? There's no business credit application for a car that's done pretty much online, right? So when you ask to speak to the finance manager, not the salesperson, right? Because the salesperson doesn't understand how to deal with business credit. Only the finance managers do. So that's the conversation that matters. So make sure you're doing that, going to finance managers when you want to buy a car in your business name. Now, quick insurance lesson. If you're using the car personally or lightly for business, personal insurance is actually fine. If you're using it for personal or, light business, right? But if you're using it for like rental cars, delivery, trash removal, hauling, things like that, you're going to have to get something called commercial insurance. So trying to be cheap here will cost you way more later on down the road. So let me leave this with you. Business credit is not a hack. It's definitely not a shortcut. It's a system. If you build it correctly, you separate your actual personal credit from your business credit. That allows you to create something called leverage. And this is how you keep your debt to income, right, very, very clean, because now the card does not report your personal credit, which means that it doesn't affect your debt to income ratio. And this is how you actually really protect your personal credit, right? And this is still how you're able to acquire assets. And if you made it to the end, I want you to comment that you've made it. Comment the word made it. I want you to like this video. I want you to subscribe. I want you to click the bell button. And I want you to understand that the next video, I'm going to break down step by step, why people think that they have to have business credit to be able to get access to business credit cards, to get access to business lines of credit, but they really don't. And I'm going to break everything down step by step. But this is your boy Chief SBS. Make sure you stay locked in. I'll see you at the next video.